You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast, exposing the struggles and celebrating the successes in the life of coaches who are action takers and creating authentic impact in today's world. Whether you're just starting out, expanding your reach, or exploding your impact, you're in the right place right now. Stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Now, here are your hosts of the Coach's Journey podcast.
Hello, Coaches Nation. Welcome to the Coaching Master Community podcast called The Coach's Journey, because as coaches, we're all on a journey. And today, my name is Daniel, and I'm here with Faisal, your co-host. Both of us are co-hosting our podcast today on sales, a really important topic for coaching and how selling coaching messes with your mind as a coach. So I'm really excited to get into this topic today. Faisal, what are you excited about in our topic?
What I'm excited about is that this was probably one of the most difficult parts of the coaching business I had to learn, and I'm still learning. It's not an easy process, especially if you come from a background where this was not a normal part of your world. Sales really does mess with your head because we have all sorts of perceptions about it and all sorts of ways of looking at it that's not helpful. And happens to be that the number one skill you need to learn to build your coaching business is actually sales. It's as despite the most coaches' belief that it's marketing, it's not. It's sales. If you can figure out sales, you can suck at marketing. You'll still have clients.
Eventually. And marketing is a whole different animal, which we I think we talked about last podcast or podcast before. But yeah, I'm excited about this because I think this can be a huge sticking point for coaches. And there's a lot of fear that goes along with sales. And a lot of it's very personal. And, as a coach, like a lot of us as coaches, we help people with the things that they take personally. And so as a coach, I'm really excited to talk about this because it's something that I've taken personally myself too personally in this, like the results from sales and not realizing that there's a skill set involved and worrying about what does this mean about me? And so like having gone through that journey of, and we all still go through it as coaches, it's just a different level of attachment and a different level of taking it personally that we need to get to in order to sell. And there's this irony in sales that in coaching that you have to be unattached in ways that don't come intuitively or automatically for most people, I would say.
Yeah.
Like if you want the sale, you have to not want the sale that way.
Yeah, and this is why it's so. I think it's so. It can be very counterintuitive. Before we jump into the topic, I do want to share for the community that's listening live, and also for those who are listening to the podcast. If you're trying to build your own business, don't do it alone. One of the first things that I learned, one of the first things that actually worked that I learned to not do this process alone. And by the way, no business owner in the right mind builds a business on their own. And they will have advisors. They will have people that they work with. They will have a team. And the online world is a unique world that has come around, especially the coaching in the online world, where you are crazy enough to not talk to other business owners and try to build a business.
Like I started that way too.
We all started that way, but we struggled in the beginning because of that. It's like we're trying to figure out all sorts of things. It's hard enough to begin with. Don't do it alone. Join our community. You can join our Facebook group by going into one of the links below. You're going to get support from our community. We give tons of content for free that you will get charged in other programs. And I really mean that. And you can test it out for yourself. And what you will get is a supportive community of coaches who are actually building their coaching business and they're asking questions. And we have live masterclasses, sessions that we discuss topics around your business, sales, and all sorts of things that will actually help you move your business forward. Now, I'm talking about this, but I'm also selling this to you. I just wanted to demonstrate that this is selling.
Just so you know. Selling is such an interesting word too, because like I think, and just go build on your point, Faisal. As coaches, we tend to think of ourselves as a coach. I want to be a coach. That's what I want to do. I want to coach people. And then the idea of being a business builder or business owner is not the primary identity. And because of that, it's also like the identity of being a seller and a salesperson is not the primary identity. And in fact, there's often a negative identity. Like I don't want to be a business person and I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't want to do those stuff. I want to just coach. And the challenge with that mindset is you think it's different from coaching, because like selling and coaching, as Faisal just demonstrated, we're selling all the time. There's plenty of situations which you're selling, which is helping people choose something that you want them to choose. And hopefully you're helping them choose something that's for their benefit, which is often, with coaching, it's a mutual benefit thing. They're paying you, but you're also providing them a valuable service. And like this resistance that we have to like, actually selling something is pervasive, I think, in the coaching industry especially for new coaches, because we don't see ourselves as business people and salespeople. And I think one of the reasons for that is like we look at other business people that we don't like, and salespeople that we don't like. We have all these experiences, these programs from society and culture and whatever, groups that we're part of, and we don't see things we don't like, and we think that's what we have to be to do those things. And we don't have to
And
be those things. We can do selling and business a different way.
yeah, and I'll blame this. I'll do blame today. I'll be pointing fingers at it, and yeah, the coach is like, "What? That as a coach?" So I'll put part of the blame on the pop culture. Actually, when you're actually looking at think about the movies that you've watched, think about the stories that you've heard from other people, think about the way that people talk about business owners and salespeople, wealthy people, and it goes down to the money. Like all the things that we've heard since child, especially this generation, since child, especially if we are in a community where money is not really the thing. Like I come from a background where money was not a big thing. Like nobody had money, and so everybody, anytime you would talk about people who had money, they would be looked at in a negative light. Is there a possibility that people ran into crazy people who had money and they weren't nice people, good people? Of course, there are good people in every circle. Like one of the biggest lessons I have from my dad is like he doesn't even remember this as a child when I was sitting with him and he was making breakfast. I don't know why it came up. We were talking about some school stuff. I was maybe 8 years old, 9 years old, 10. Like he raised his hand and he's like, "You see my fingers?" He's like, "Are they equal lengths?" I think I was talking about a group of people in my school. He's like, just like your fingers are not the same length, you will never find people who are going to be the same in every group. It's like you're going to find good, bad, all sorts of people in every group. I don't care if you pray and you think that they're in your family or somebody else. That became one of my best lessons. I brought this up to my dad. He's like, I don't even remember that, which is interesting. Anyway, so with the point is that like we've been taught all sorts of things about sales, or we've heard stories and alibis that one teacher called about this, that in our mind confirms that sales is a negative thing. And I actually got this book from Brendan. I think Brendan Burchard gave us this book like 5 years ago in one of his events. Daniel and I were both in that event. And as I was reading through that, I'm like, holy shit, I believe all of these things. And he also talks about like how much the world of sales has shifted because of the accessibility to information has dramatically changed. It used to be that, for example, if you walked into a car dealership, the information for the car was mostly available for the car dealership themselves. The customer didn't know much, but now your customers know more about you than you know more about.
Yeah, this is actually a really interesting paradox, right? It's like, or phenomenon rather, where the inequality of information is going away, so we used to associate sales with like, oh, somebody's going to sell something to me that I didn't need, or I didn't get a good deal on, or somebody took advantage of me. That was a lot easier to see in the past, where you had this asymmetry of information between the seller and the buyer. But today, buyers are way more informed. And so selling it's harder to make it that sort of take advantage mentality. People are rejecting that a lot faster now. And so that's the thing about coaching and about honestly everything. Selling is becoming very mutual now. Even when you go to the store, you already know, like if I go to Best Buy, I already know the prices out there. So maybe I want the Best Buy guarantee, or maybe I want whatever, but like people can't take advantage of you the same way that they used to. And also that's the thing about coaching. When you're selling coaching, you're not taking advantage of people. That's another thing that's really important to understand. If you think you're taking advantage of somebody, then you have to make some shifts as a coach in what you're doing, because there's a lot of value to what you can bring as a coach. If you can see it as valuable, see it from somebody else's perspective and how valuable it could be for them, then you're not necessarily taking advantage of them, but you have to get that out of your head.
You're listening to the Coach's Journey Podcast.